All right, so I'm gonna give you what I enjoyed. I lied actually. I fucking hated what the game it was. I hate this nonsense where you have like a fucking spirit come out of your butt. And
back in the day, I assume is how you get a woman into your cave. You trap her with a net and pull her in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Guns would know that.
Thank you, Ala.
So.
It's nighttime with the OldGuard Podcast, getting tipsy, gaining hard with controllers clash. Cheap night, cause we're feeling kinda thrifty, gonna send back a few, get a little gifty. Hype up the chat, have a laugh or two, look for me and the crew. It's game time with the host, Cardinal Guns, and the rest of the pride. It's OldGuard Podcast time.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the OldGuard Podcast, episode 4, I believe. Tonight we have Fade Odin joining us.
Hello, hello.
We have our main man, Benrez.
Yo, what's up?
We have Lady Vala.
Hello.
We have the crazy person from Argentina, Odra.
Hello.
And our other main guy, Kaz, who look a little funky in that picture. And we also have Dirk, the man, who's not.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, and
again, yeah, that's right.
And that's right. And I'm Gung Ho Guns, and let's kind of jump right into it. Dirk.
Yeah, so I've been hearing some news about Palworld circling around, and I haven't played Palworld in a while, but I played for like 67 hours. Does anyone know what's going on with Palworld?
That's it, brother. I dropped 1,000 hours in Palworld.
Oh, smokes, dude!
I didn't play it, but I loved just seeing like all the AAA gaming companies shit their bricks whenever that game came out, and because I think it had like for like a straight month had like over 300k daily players on Steam.
More like 1 million, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was like I know it was over half
Steam's number one game with the most concurrent online players.
So to answer your question, Dirk, what's going on is freaking Nintendo finally is going, we're suing you guys. And the funny
man.
And the funny part,
understandably, honestly.
Yeah, but here's the funny part. They're not actually suing them for the mons or the Pokemon or whatever the hell you want to call them, the slaves. They're not suing them for the lookalike that they are in there. What they're suing them for is the concept of like the ball throw, like the actual mechanics in game. That's what they're suing them for.
So they'll probably lose that one.
I don't
think that's a interesting.
They literally have Pikachu in the game, and they're not suing them over Pikachu being in the game.
It's a little more nuanced than that. Pokemon actually holds the patent. They patented a lot of parts to capturing a Pokemon.
That's some
There's
bullshit,
a
man.
lot of
did you not do it though?
Pages.
People have been using traps since the humanity started. There was always a little box where you or even back in the day, I assume is how you get, a woman into your cave. You trap her with a net and pull her in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Guns would know that.
Thank you,
Ala. So.
True,
Thank you,
but if you look at all these other monster taming games, now outside of MMOs, monster taming is like my second most favorite type of like game, like genre.
Sure.
They all use different catchers. They either use like these weird cards, or they use like a cube, or it's never a ball, because Pokemon holds the patent on the ball.
Well, technically,
and there's like other levels.
Not using a ball, they're using a sphere. Just saying.
The ball, or like throwing the ball, like all
balls are spheres.
That's right.
There's a lot more in the patent. Like it's multiple pages long. They also hold a patent like multiple stats and status effects impacting your catch rate. They hold a patent on the ball or a graphic or a icon or anything symbolizing 3 shakes. You know how like a Pokeball does like the 3 little wiggles and then it like, hey, you caught it. They own the patent on that, and that one for sure Palworld is doing.
I feel like they'd be
Pokemon
way
monopoly.
better off trying to sue them for something like having their fucking characters in the game. Like that'd be a way easier lawsuit.
I could definitely see that being a lot easier.
People have tossed that idea around them, being primarily for the monster design. However, others have argued if Nintendo or Pokemon opened the gate for suing for monster design, then the companies that Pokemon or Nintendo copied themselves, like the what's that game? Something monsters. No, it was a game from like way back in the day. Because they copied their monster design, so it's like, hey, if Nintendo is suing other people, now people are going to sue Nintendo.
Of course it is. Dude, people borrow from other people all the time. I personally think it's bullshit, but there is somebody that I actually want to bring up here and talk, because I know, we had our own server that we played, this on, and Vala here put a lot of hours into Palworld. What do you think about this, Vala?
I think it's kind of dumb. I mean, if Nintendo really wanted to not have this be like a problem, they should have just made a good Pokemon game on the PC. Like,
agreed.
That would have solved their entire problem. If they had a competition game, their own game that was at least equal, if not better, than what Palworld put out, which they could do because they have the resources to do that, they wouldn't have to sue them. They'd probably take most of Palworld's player base too, because so many people just off the nostalgia factor of it being Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's just my 2 cents.
I'm a big Pokemon fan, and Kaz, I'm gonna in 1 second. I'm a big Pokemon fan, and you're 100% right. Like the Palworld on the PC was just like one of those games where you did not want to miss it. What were you gonna say, Kaz?
I was just gonna say, let's talk about what she just said, which is good Pokemon game. Let's talk about the fact that Nintendo for the last 20 years has not had to innovate since 2004.
Yeah,
like when they started making semi 3D-ish Pokemon games on the 3DS, and then culminating with their Wii U and Wii and now Switch Pokemon games. It's all the same dribble. They haven't had to rethink their formula. So Palworld comes out and it's like, what about a survival base builder, little monsters game, but also you could fuck the monsters. And Pokemon people are like, this is intense. Why would you do this?
Yeah, one of the tweets that I saw, or one of the things that I guess Pokemon Company came back when Palworld was really ramping up, and they were like, "Oh, we're not really the same because in Pokemon, you fell in love with the Pokemon that or the mons that you had. You grew attachment to them, and etc. And in Palworld, they were just like the people that you hire to work in your field." So I don't know. I mean, this was their idea back then, and all of a sudden they just kind of moved forward, to getting them from this. And what's funny, and again, I kind of want to touch on this. They, if you look at the actual lawsuit, that patent they sued them for was only a couple of weeks old. They literally put it in there just to sue them. Which is, again, I think, in my opinion, it's total bullshit. And not only is it bullshit, I think it's threatening a lot of other games, because if nobody's allowed to talk about Pokemon or take any traps or any of their ideas, then that whole genre is just a monopoly for Pokemon, and they have no competition. And it's
well, that's what Nintendo does. Even if people will stream themselves modding a fucking 30-year-old game that they're playing on a Nintendo 64, and Nintendo will give them a takedown order for it.
Yeah.
So it's so stupid, because wouldn't that bring in more?
No,
business
they don't care.
For them?
They don't want any modification to any of their property.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to me.
That's what patents are meant for. Patents really have become just a way for companies to, abuse it to prevent people entering the space. And Guns and I have a more real world, example that has happened to, family of ours, where, I don't know if I can say this, but they opened a tech company with the word Shack in their name. And fucking Radio Shack sued them because they trademarked Shack.
They're not out of business yet?
This was before
at the time. At the time. They owned the trademark on Shack when it revolves around the IT space. If you want to open up a hot dog stand and call it Hot Dog Shack, go for it. But if you want to open up anything regarding IT, you know, if you want to sell phones, you want to repair phones, you want to do anything like that, and you have Shack in your name, nuh-uh. Radio Shack owns that.
Yeah, dude. I remember that. They literally had a lawsuit against us for it. Go ahead, Kaz.
So I put a graphic in the chat, but basically this is why, to Odra and Dirk, your points, this is why Nintendo's not suing based on characters. Pokemon in 1996 blatantly ripped off of Akira Toriyama's work for the original Dragon Quest released in 1986. This is something
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, big boy.
Oh, Dragon Quest is huge.
The fucking OG of shonen anime, who recently died, God rest his soul, fucking made all these badass monster designs for Dragon Quest and also kicked off a shitload of hentai off those characters because the slimes.
Okay, buddy.
Look at that, big boy. You'll have a good time. But the Pokemon, dude, they took literally like so much inspiration from it that you can just look at what he did and look at Pokemon and go, oh my God.
Hold
So
on.
Nintendo just will not sue over it.
I mean, it's
Before you
faith,
continue,
man. Or it's not in good faith for this. Go ahead, Dirk.
first, Kaz, please pick a different picture, dog. I can't, dude. I can't stare at it anymore. But
Yeah,
if you looking at that graphic that you posted, dude, I can understand exactly why they wouldn't be able to do a lawsuit for character design. But yeah, the concept in itself is definitely going to still cause problems, 100%.
Patent lawsuits also, if they're making money off of your patent and they win, they get a boatload of money afterwards. So
Yeah.
you let them fucking go out and make money, and then you like wait until you're basically at a point where you're like, okay, they're not making too much anymore. Now we're going to come in and sue, and we're going to demand, basically damages, and it's going to be some absurd number. So Nintendo could potentially take all their fucking money.
Well,
They waited for Sony to buy out Palworld, and then when they bought out Palworld, it's like, there's the big money right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like there should just be like, I don't know. I feel like there should be things in place to keep businesses from doing that to like something. So if there's like, there's a copyright, yeah, they should only have a certain amount of time to put out said lawsuit, so that they're not just sitting there waiting for a business, say like this with Palworld, where them to get more and more and more money, where they're now in a place where they can be like, we can sue them now because now they have a lot of money to give us. I feel like that's kind of bullshit. There should be like a window of opportunity, like it's come out, here's your whatever it is window, and once you're past that, you've known it's been there for a long enough time, you should have done something about it sooner.
I personally, again, I agree with you, Bala. I also think it's just in bad faith because, Nintendo's are like the big bully on the playground. I mean, they're suing everybody, and I think their win ratio is like 100%. So what's most likely going to happen is they're going to win this lawsuit, and Palworld is going to be shut down and be taken out from Steam or whatever. So get in there, guys, right now and play a little bit before it's gone forever, because there's no way that Pocket Pair is going to win this, and there's no way.
It doesn't matter.
It's coming to PlayStation.
Like it doesn't matter. They're not going to shut down Palworld. The patent is regarding the catching mechanic, so that's all they have to do. They change the ball into like a square
or something,
or whatever, something else.
It's a sphere now.
I mean, you can call an orb a sphere, is what it is.
I mean, listen,
I'm just saying, they just changed the shape of the thing into a square, and then Nintendo will then take another year to find something else to sue them over, and then they'll change that thing, and then they'll
change it to a toilet. They use a lot of toilets now.
Just a little fucking trick. They'll find something, man. If you guys don't know this, I'm a big Pokemon fan. I play every year, and I actually get involved in the competing. And I've enjoyed it for what it is, but they don't innovate, let's be honest, ever. Like if they change one thing, is like now you can spin in a circle instead of going like a old school PlayStation D-pad where you go left, right? That's like the only thing they change. And I think Palworld showed what he can do, and I think they got scared, and this is them, pretty much scared and fighting back, and they're afraid they're going to lose all their audience. That's what I personally think. And I love Pokemon, but I think this is in really bad faith from the Pokemon company and Nintendo in general.
It's a P Diddy move.
It's 100% a P Diddy move.
And just about everything Nintendo does is in bad faith. I mean, they sue their own content creators on YouTube.
Yeah.
They shut down, player-made events that don't have anything to do with Nintendo other than, their IPs. Like, it's just what Nintendo does. They're known for shitting and pissing on every member of their community, and the people will just continue to eat and drink it up.
They're the R. Kelly of gaming.
Yeah.
So before we get into Throne and Liberty, I know that's what we really want to go to. Does anybody else want to say anything else about Palworld before we move on? And I know a lot of us have played the game, and it's definitely disheartening to hear the shit from.
I've seen it coming.
I've seen it coming too.
Last thing, if you were hoping on playing it on the PS5 or on console, because it was going to get console release, they have now delayed that until after the trial.
So never. There you go.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck. That's what I say, man. So, all right, moving on to Throne and Liberty. I don't know how many of you guys have tried it out, but tomorrow is the early access, and on October 1st, it is the global launch for Throne and Liberty. Who here has played it, and who's going to play it?
I'm gonna play it, but haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't played it, but I've heard of it.
Okay.
Play the betas.
Yeah, I played the beta too.
I did play it as well.
Okay.
The beta was pretty good.
So do you just want to hear my raw, unadulterated?
That's why we're here, man. We want Dirk without his shirt on, with like the 3 chairs on your chest. Here's that.
Show me your nipples.
I don't want to see.
All right, well, we're not going that far, but
I want to see the hamburger sticking out. Go ahead.
So
He wants to have Dirk raw.
when I tried it, man, it's kind of hard to remember. I mean, I do remember the base gameplay, right, which was interesting. It didn't really capture me too much, but I think I just wasn't. I don't think I was in my MMO mode, to be honest. I didn't have the gaming chair set up for it. But I do know that the storytelling was a little off. I felt like it was it wasn't confusing. I just got to a point where I was like rescuing some kid or something, and then there was a pack of wolves, and he kept running from the wolves, and I had to protect this kid. And that's when I sort of lost interest, and I was like, "This."
Spoiler alert! Go ahead. I'm scared.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I was just like, "Man, this shit is fucking weird, dude." And I was like, "This is boring me out of my mind." And that's where I kind of called it quits. I'm not really good with some betas like that, so
sure.
You guys probably had a better experience than me. So I'd like to hear how you guys.
Quite a bit, yeah. Din or Kaz, do you wanna jump into it, buddy?
Oh man! All right, so I'm gonna give you what I enjoyed. I lied. Actually, I fucking hated what Korean it was. I hate this nonsense where you have like a fucking spirit come out of your butt and nobody else can see it but you, and it's like your quest giver.
Black Desert, dude.
Black Desert does that shit. I hate it. I don't know what it is with the Koreans. They didn't get nuked. They should be normal, but they can't do porn.
Jesus
they can't
Christ.
do video games. But they're normal otherwise else. But they fucking make this shit, and I'm like, I hate it. But I'm gonna be honest, dude. The combat when I played it in the beta, maybe in game after the game releases is going to be a little different. But I didn't feel impactful. I will say that from a keyboard standpoint, they had the absolute worst control scheme for keyboard, and then you put it on controller, and you're like, this plays amazing. So I don't know what that was about, because I tried to play it on keyboard. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this is bad. But I will say from an innovation standpoint, being the mount is cool.
Yeah.
And also being able to shapeshift in combat is cool. The movement with the grapple hooks and stuff, that was dope. It's nice that they were like, hey, you want to turn into an eagle and jump off of this steeple? You can. I liked the fact that your backup weapon was like actively used. So if you have a great sword and a wand, then you're actively able to like heal yourself and heal other people. And I noticed that was really handy when it came down to like doing big pushes. I didn't have like any kind of staying power issues.
Sure.
So there was definitely some pros there. I just, the story took me right out.
Yeah, I think the beta was. I mean, I'll be honest too. I actually enjoyed the game quite a bit, but the beta, especially as you was kind of getting into it, didn't really knock my socks off. If you know what I mean. Fate, do you want to before I go over it, because I don't think anybody else played it. Do you want to kind of give us your opinion on the beta at least?
Yeah, sure. So I played it a couple of times through the various betas. I even played it before they changed the combat back when you couldn't move and do skills. It was basically you just stand still and you fight. Which meant that if you were a ranged character, you won every single fight because the melee guy had to stop and hit you. And if you moved right when their character model stopped, and they tried to do a skill, you would then be out of range and they couldn't hit you.
Yeah.
So I played it back then and it was awful. And then I played it again when they changed the combat style to the more action combat style. You can tell that it was a shift, that they didn't like overhaul anything, that they just tweaked, like animation cast times and stuff around to make it seem like that. And they kept improving that slowly, but you can still kind of feel it. That's why when I played it, and you as well probably noticed this, like in the first few levels, it feels very slow, like you're waiting around more than anything, kind of like Final Fantasy 14 in the beginning. You're waiting around. But as you like climb the levels and get more stats and get more abilities, you can start chaining things together more frequently. So it feels more actiony than what it was. So with that being said, I think that may be a problem for some people. It's kind of what people say about a good book or a good movie. It doesn't get good until chapter 3, or it doesn't get good until like season 2. That's kind of where the game is. It doesn't even really pick up until the mid.
He's never read that book about Mr. Gray, because that book at the start was steamy. Anyway, not that I would know. Bala told me.
What? You mean 50 Shades of Grey?
See, Dirk even knows the name.
I would never be talking up that book. That book is a terrible book. It is a terrible message for that community.
I had Kaz read it to me.
And that's right.
So my favorite rendition was Gilbert Gottfried's.
Oh my god! Now, if you wanted book recommendations, come to me after. But that's not one of them.
Outside of like the concerns about possible pay to win, things like that, I think where a lot of people or the player base may drop off is the pace of the game, it being too slow at the beginning, and you have to actually put in some time to acquire some skills and some stats and some gear before the game gets into a good flow. I think that might be an issue for some players, but the game is on console and PC, so I think the console players, due to the limited amount of MMOs they have, I think they might deal with it and push through it, and it could end up being really good.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that actually, because you bring up a good point with the whole you got to earn your skills before the game finds its feet. Yeah. So Guild Wars 2, when it first came out, had a whole system where you had to visit trainers. You didn't just get skills from leveling up, and it felt so. There was good and bad to it. It was
exhausting. MMO.
It was exhausting because if you picked the wrong class, warrior, then you sucked until you got to level 50. If you picked guardian or necromancer, then you were God's gift to man wandering around. And if you picked elementalist, you just quit unless you made an afro wearing fucking Asura. So the game itself sucked hard at launch because of that. And within, I think it was 2 months, not even 60 days, they revamped the entirety of it. And they were like, here's your skills. No more training. You're going to get into the action sooner. They made it way more accessible because people were they were coming in and they're like, this sucks. and I wonder if Throne and Liberty is going to take anything from the beta for that. We'll
I'm
see
sure
when they
are. So this is, and again, I'll give you guys my opinion. And unlike you guys, I'm actually super positive about the game. I thought it was pretty good. The one thing in my, and again, I'll go with the negative first here, is just the pay to win. I think that's going to be the main decider here. I don't think it's going to be anything else, honestly. When I tried the game out and I played for quite a while, I probably put, 10, 20 hours in there in the beta. And what I noticed, it kind of had that classic MMO style game with a little bit of modern twist to it. It was semi-action tab targeting. And, you had open world dungeon, instant dungeon. It made the game feel super alive when you're playing it. Obviously at the start, you don't have a lot of moves to combo. So it felt slow. But then I watched some players, in Korea and things like that kind of, put all their stuff together. I mean, dude, that was fantastic. It's one of the coolest looking games that I've seen in a while. And I that's my opinion. I swear to God, I'm not changing that. I feel that. On top of that, most of the games, and if we're being honest, most of the games out there, if they have a strong community, as in open guild versus guild, trading center, et cetera, that's what really keeps the game alive. You can only raid so much. You can only PvP so much. If you don't have a big community effort, the whole thing always dies in the end. The whole Throne and Liberty is based on, guild versus guild, community versus community, conquering, competition. I really enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed what I played, and I can't wait for it. I really do think that it's going to be pretty good.
So when can people get access?
So tomorrow is so this is, again, one of the things that I don't like, and I think it's bullshit in video games, is where they do early access. I think that's bullshit. But tomorrow is early access for those that bought it in at noon Central, our time. And then the global launch is October 1st.
So I see on Steam, it's $40 for the early access
and
pack.
It's free. Standard. And I forgot to mention that, guys. This is a free-to-play game. It will cost you nothing in October 1st.
That's Tuesday.
Dude, I'm really excited for it, but I can't pay for something that's going to be free just for 7 days.
There's no way. That's why the only reason that I took it is because, again, me and Fate are doing this content thing for it. So I wanted to progress to level 50 or whatever the high level is before everybody else jumps in there. So excuse me, I had tacos earlier, so I'm dying over here, man. But it really is. There's no benefit to buying the early access. I would just start on October 1st otherwise. And it's free. It's a free game. You can try it out. And like Faith said, it is cross play. So there's going to be a ton of players all the time in there fighting these wars. And Dirk, I know you love PvP, man. This game is literally 80% PvP. It's all about competition. And before you ask, is it every day? I actually did some research before this. And so they have world bosses, castle sieges, and things like that every other Sunday. And these guild versus guild for these boonstones or whatever that they do. I believe it's they said, there was an interview yesterday, I think, and they said it was going to be doing prime hours every week or every Tuesday or Wednesday or something. So it's not going to be every day.
It's like the New World thing where they would just have forts and shit that would be sieged and you would be able to join the battle. And it would just announce in the game and people would have time to plan around it.
Publisher is Amazon Games, developers NCSoft.
Bro had such a big burp he muted himself. You should have let it fly. We need to rate it.
Now you do have your normal open world PvP. So if you wanted to PvP, you can just go around and kill people.
Yeah.
Or you can also do 3v3s. And they have stated in their live stream that they do plan on introducing war zones.
I have a question before we forget about it. It's about pretty much what Fate was talking about. Is it so? You said there's 3v3, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
And you and that's arena style, correct?
It's not exactly arena style. It's a point-based arena. So it's 3v3, but each of your team has 6 points. So 2 points per player, and it's timed. And as you kill the opposing, team members, your team will score points, and then the person that you killed will then res after a few seconds, and they'll come back into the fight. And so you just keep going back and forth like that, and then at the end of the match, the team that has the most points wins that match.
So how does the open world PvP compare in comparison to that play style? Like, how does open world PvP work? If there is open world PvP.
There is a lot of open world PvP, yeah. Go ahead, wait.
In open world, so there are zones that will be non-flagged. So when you go to them, you can just quest and do normal stuff. You don't PvP, and there will be zones that are flagged for PvP. So everybody is fair game, excluding people from your guild or alliance.
So kind of like the wild and RuneScape.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind
I'm down for that.
Kind of like what was that planet in SWTOR? The ice planet.
Ilum.
Yeah. So it's basically like Ilum.
But everybody, apart from your guildmates, everybody in your alliance, everybody's a red target. So you can just get a crew together and just kill literally everyone. And the massive PvP, like the siege wars and things like that, you're looking at 100 versus 100, or even more. And it's just like a crazy, crazy thing, man. I haven't participated in that myself, but I've watched quite a lot of it, and it's super interesting. I cannot wait for that.
So the specs are actually not that bad. It's recommending an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 with 60
It actually felt really
RAM.
optimized.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how optimized does it feel when you're doing like?
The only thing that scares me is NCSoft doesn't really have a fantastic track record.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I put a lot of hours in the beta for this game. It felt sluggish. It felt like something wasn't right, and I played a lot of it, and it got better as I played with there, but just the moves that I had weren't linking together properly. It felt really slow, and there was a few bugs in there. However, and before Kaz, before you say anything, really quick, what I really like about companies that make video games and devs or whatever is when they listen and they try to fix it or try to remedy the situation. NSoft or whoever's making it actually listened, and they made a lot of fixes in the Korea server, and the game is a lot better than what it was in beta. I'm sorry, Kaz, go ahead, buddy.
No, you're fine. This is a perfect segue, because I was just saying that since that has an October 1st release date, I just want to bring up a surprise topic. The Game of the Year 2024 back-to-back champion Starfield Shattered Space is releasing September 30th. To beat it by a day, get wrecked. It's a 10 out of 10.
Are we sponsored by them by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
Todd Howard obviously makes no mistakes. Listen, they listened to this ties into what you're talking about, player feedback. They listened, and they realized procedural generation is the worst fucking thing to be in video games since like Horse Armor. So they said, okay, we'll give you one planet with one city that's not procedurally generated. Anyway, I'm going to play it and waste my time, but just wanted to throw that out there that it's going to
throw a lot of Star Wars mods into it.
Yeah, right.
Honestly,
interesting.
Actually, no joke. I did mod it, so I wiped it out, but I did mod it with a Star Wars mod package from Nexus Mods that turned the planet into fucking Coruscant. All the normal guys into stormtroopers. It replaced all the English words with like Arabesh. It actually felt like a Star Wars game. And this was right around the time the Outlaws came out. And then I played Outlaws and I got so pissed because I was like, I get the same experience from this trashy Bethesda game that I modded for free as I did for this freaking Outlaws game that cost $120 and played like garbage.
We'll actually touch on Outlaws in a little bit. I actually have something I want to talk about in a little bit, but let's go back and thank you for that, Kaz. Let's go back to Throne of Liberty. Dirk, thank you for posting in chat all of the images. I'll actually blow that up when when we were editing this. But I actually wanted to talk to Vala and Odra and Benrez. And I think Benrez, you said you played the beta a little bit or no?
Yeah, a little bit. I got to like level 15 in the beta.
Okay. And then maybe Odra and Vala. So are you guys, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw anything for it or anything like that. Did you, any interest in trying it out in October?
Yeah, no, I was interested in trying it when it wasn't, it gonna cost me money for a free game.
That's right. It's free.
But when when that time comes, yeah, no, I definitely wanted to try and give it a shot, download it. It's only not gonna hurt me.
It's free.
Once
Get
it's
that
free.
preload live already, baby.
Yeah,
I have a
You
question.
can't play it, but you can download it.
Go ahead, Dirk.
So right now it says pre-order now to get the following. It says the 5-day early access. The outfits, the morphs, the Amatoi,
Correct.
a title, some titles, emotes, and then there's 1,000 Lucent. So what's Lucent?
So Lucent is their pay to win. So again, we can actually talk about this because this is my only concern about this game. I really do think this game is that good, but I think this Lucent is what's going to kill it. Or if they make it somewhere where it doesn't, it's going to be a really good game. Anyway, Lucent is it's like the gold or the WoW token in World of Warcraft, where you can buy the Lucent with your credit card, and then you can sell it for in-game currency to buy the gold and things like that. That's as far as I understand. That's what it is, and that is their pay-to-win. Paid
That Black
option.
Desert credit transfer.
Oh, dude. That's
what
how inflation in game happens, dude. It gets bad.
Yeah.
As far as
Didn't we come from an MMO that did
aware, it's
Yes.
a bit different than that. As far
Is
as I'm
it?
aware, you don't actually convert Lucent into in-game currency. Lucent is the premium currency. It's kind of like your cartel coins. But
Same
outside
difference.
of just outside of just being able to use it to buy like the cash shop stuff, like costumes and cosmetics and all that kind of BS, you can use it to buy more advanced gear on the auction house. So somebody gets like a rare piece of armor, right? Instead of selling it for like in-game gold, they can sell it for Lucent
for
premium currency. Yeah, and then that way, that person who plays the game for free can then use the Lucent that they have accumulated by selling gear to buy cosmetics on the shop.
You can also sell it, by the way. So like what a lot of people did in like SWTOR and stuff. Well, you guys remember we all play SWTOR. Like you would buy whatever on there, cosmetics, packs, etc.
Fucking sell those cosmetics to make bank, baby.
4 billion credits. So you can definitely do that as well. I mean, there's definitely pay to win options in here. Like don't let anybody lie. Let's just be honest and call it what it is. This is their big pay to win. And in my opinion, this is what's either gonna break the game, or if they can figure out how to make it not as bad, it's going to keep people playing. Because and again, I will give him this, they did say that, and again, this is one of the really cool things, is all content, all progression is available to all players. And there was an interview yesterday, I believe, where one of the guys that actually works there, and he is directly from AGS, he's their global design manager, Daniel, I believe his name was. He said that even though there is pay to win, a free player will be able to actually do everything that the other player can do, and gear up and etc. is just going to take a little bit longer for them. So
every pay to win build says that.
Hey, OJ.
That's a code.
Anarchy.
It is what it is.
We promise we're not pay to win, guys. You just have to pay for the good gear. That's all.
I do want to mention
whale hunting is
something,
fun.
This is what another content creator, Kanan, has brought up many times when people ask, is it pay to win? So our version, the NA version or the West version of Throne Liberty, we won't have some of these further newer pay to win mechanics that Korea got. We won't have those yet anyway.
Like which ones?
So the hammer system with the runes, we won't have that currently in our version of the game. Of course, yet. And when he was pushed to answer that question, they said that they may not, they may change it depending on our players' feedback, stuff like that. So with the stuff that we have, that we know that we're gonna get day one on early access and October 1st for at least the next 3 months, October November and December, we won't have those extreme pay to win systems. The only system that we're going to have that is pay to win is actually capped for those players. So they can't just progressively keep paying more money to win further. They will pay the money, hit that pay to win cap, and then not be able to go any further. So they can get there a lot quicker than free to play, but the free to play player will be able to catch up until they release like a new system.
Here's a hot take on that, guys, and Vala. Dude, I'm okay with that. I work a full-time job, and I don't have any kids that I know of, like Kaz here, but that I know of again. But dude, I don't have 8 hours to spend in a game. Like some weeks I'm super busy. So if it costs me, $2 or $5, to catch up and be on the same playing field, I'm okay paying that. So again, as long as, in my opinion, as long as within that week or whatever, a free-to-player can match the same power as me paying out of it and not doing it because I'm lazy, convenience, as they say, I'm okay with that. I don't know.
Me and Ojo are gonna min-max in the first week.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Ojo, I got you.
Surprisingly, from the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm okay with what Gunn said too. As long as people who are free to play are capable of catching up and not being left in the dust by people who are playing.
There's a bad consequence of that though, because a lot, I agree, you should be able to do that, if you don't have the time to grind. But there's going to be a lot of these boomer dads that go into PvP and I have full gear, I can kill anybody, and just get fucking wrecked. So, and then they're going to bitch on the forums, and then the devs are going to change it back because of all the bitching.
So thank you for bringing that up. So one of the really cool concept that drew me to this game, and I'm actually trying to figure out what class I want to play tomorrow, and Faye can probably explain it better than I can. So unlike SWTOR and unlike some of these other MMOs that we played, the classes and the way they work in Thorn and Liberty is like a paper, rock, scissors. You cannot cover all bases, right? So if, for example, you are a ranged character and your full defense is against melee, you will, a free-to-player who's a ranged will eat you up, and vice versa. So there's 3-4 different defenses you can go for or more, right? You can never cover for everything. You can stop one thing. So it's like a rock, paper, scissors. You got to pick one that you want to be strong against and one or two that are going to eat you up. So Faye, do you want to kind of go further into it?
Yeah, so basically that was on the right road there. So the game doesn't have a class you start off with. You don't pick warrior, you don't pick mage, you just make a dude and then you find the weapons that you like to use, or gal. I was using dude as gender neutral. Bite me. So you pick your weapon combinations that you want to use. You can mix and match whatever you want, and likewise with the gear, you're not restricted to hey, if you're using sword and shield and a great sword, you have to use plate. No, that's not the case. You can use cloth if you want. However, the stats and the set bonuses, and that's the stuff that you want to utilize for those weapons, like great sword and sword and shield, will primarily be on the heavy or the plate armor. Now, because of that, the heavy and plate armor has innate stats, innate evasions, innate defenses against, let's say, melee and physical ranged. So the armor itself will have higher stats in those fields, but it'll have lower stats in magic evasion. So just by default, you can't really build magic defense as well on that type of build, meaning that a caster can mess you up pretty quickly. Vice versa, if you wanted to play a glass cannon, bow or mage with the staff, the stats you're going to go with are primarily going to be cloth and maybe some leather, but again, they're not going to have the evasion. They're going to be missing one of the evasions. They're going to be missing one of the defensives for either melee or physical range.
Sounds kind of like Albion.
Class
it
will be strong against you.
It's pretty balanced in the way that it's no matter what you do and no matter how many times you pay with your credit card, there are people in the game, and again, with the population that's going to be playing it, because it's a free game, there's somebody out there really close to you that's going to eat you up and take
Nope,
you home.
not me.
Well, I actually
think
have
on
Dirk,
Korea
I have
right
a- I have
now-
a class for you, so we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
There's
In Korea right now, the number one bow staff player is free to play.
there's only one proper weapon combination for a fantasy game. It's heavy armor. It's a two-handed sword, and that's it.
Yeah, but you can do that.
Or you
got to
need
do the guts build.
So for Dirk, because Dirk, I know what Dirk likes to play with his melee juggy. You actually have a retro paladin sort of build, and it's actually one of those builds that's considered the Grim Reaper, and that is the great sword wand. And what that's going to do is it's kind of like a paladin where you can heal yourself and you can just do amazing, ridiculous damage with that greatsword. So it's one of those classes. And again, I watched a bunch of other creators and some videos. It's the class that everybody runs away from. It's like, oh, there's because you can't kill it because it can heal. And plus with a greatsword, you get all the defensives and all the offenses and all that stuff together. Plus the heal. So it's like one of those things where there's amazing combinations, but at the same time, you're going to run into somebody who, maybe you're not protecting against magic, who's going to eat you up from 30 feet away. So
No, I'll beat him.
well, we'll see. But again, going back, I really like that. I really like that no matter what you do, there's a counterbalance to it. I like that because I hated players in PvP whose class is just better. You know what I mean? I hated that. I hated that there was no way to beat them. And I think in Throwing a Liberty, they really take that stuff seriously, which I can definitely respect. Does anybody else want to say anything about Throwing a Liberty? We're kind of on that hour mark.
No, I don't think it's going to do too hot. Like, I think it'll be a fun game, but the only game I can really remember that came out of Korea recently that's done well and hasn't died was Black Desert. And that's a whole grindy mess too.
Yeah,
It being free, it may have something going for it.
That
Funny
game is heavily
thing with
supported by consoles.
funny thing with BDO is that game didn't do well in Korea, but did amazingly well in the West.
Yeah.
Right? It was so I thought it was going to shut down before it even came here.
Bro, I played the shit out of BDO.
It's a good ass game.
Well, one thing on the TNL before we move on. So Guns and I are planning on starting a guild on the server we choose tomorrow. We have no announcement on what that server is until tomorrow. So if this video does go up before the servers go live, join us on the Discord. We'll post what server we choose. We do need guild members to try and compete for server rankings.
Yeah,
and in those conquest fights and sieges.
The guild name is going to be the Hong Kong Cavaliers. Anyway, go on. I'm just kidding. It's not going to be that.
I don't know about that one.
Hong Kong Cavaliers, baby.
I like it. I think it's beautiful.
I think that's 100% right.
No. Our goal will be to take over some castles, and we need players to do that.
What do you think, Kaz?
What about what? Throwing a Liberty?
Throwing a Liberty.
I'm tentatively excited. So I haven't. There's very few MMOs that are trying to reinvent the wheel. I felt like they had a lot of stuff that they did that's fun. I just worry about the longevity of the game because most PvP centric games tend to die pretty quick down to like just a dedicated player base of like win traders or mega guilds, right? And people who were like, oh, I just want to play casually, just get completely owned because they're like, well, like fucking Odra talked about the boomer dads. Like, at least this game probably doesn't have like localized voice chat, right? Because man, the worst thing in the world would be to like come crush some dad and then you hear his son in the background, like, you did your best, dad.
Oh, you got me.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, you got me. Well, I wasn't good enough, son.
I mean, there will also be a lot of PvE content. They are making like tiered dungeons. They will have raids. And from what that guy yesterday from Amazon said, and some of the teasing articles, it looks like we will be getting that first expansion that Korea got by January.
Yeah.
That's
it took
nutty.
them like 6 to 8 months to get it, and we're going to get it within like 3 months. So...
yeah. So again, going back to what I said earlier, I think the pay to win is really going to be either where this game lives or dies, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Lives.
Well, like
No
I said,
such
You're
thing.
crazy.
if people if it's not, because I mean, let's be honest, World of Warcraft is pay to win, 100%.
He never
Not
dies.
with gear.
What are you talking about, dude? I can go buy the WoW gold or the WoW token or whatever it is, and I can sell it. I can buy the best gear on there, no problem. Same
The best
thing.
gear is all via the actual token vendor, so you can't really buy the gear.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can buy the
Now-
enchantments, you can buy all that stuff, dude. I mean, it's pay
It's
to
not
win.
gonna help
It's
that
pay to
much.
win. You know,
But
There's no such thing as pay to win.
your way to do it would be to pay another player to carry you through the content with the WoW token.
You have to do like mythic raids to get gear in WoW.
I don't know.
Actually,
man.
this is
You
a
can
great
do
time
lot
for us
with
to
the
get
gold.
sponsored.
Yeah,
We need to get sponsored by a Chinese power leveling crew because that would
Like I say,
we would
you
blow
can
up.
totally pay to win. You can totally pay an end game guild to carry you through a mythic and get you ahead of the curve and get you the gear. You can pay some good PvPer to carry your ass in like 2s or 3s.
By that
for
logic,
sure.
every MMO is pay to
So-
win.
Yeah.
There
But I mean,
is
you can pay
there
them
is
with a
no-
game token. You don't gotta like use you don't gotta PayPal some guy some money. You can literally just pay him with the token in the game.
There is no modern MMO that is considered either AAA or AA or whatever that's not a Stand and Stone Games game that has
Agreed.
pay to win bacon in it. Standing Stone Games are the only games that have like straight up pay to win. Like you can buy all your stats, you can buy everything right off the fucking thing and make yourself a max level character for like $150 with all your stats. Every other game out there just gives you an illusion of pay to win, and then like Odra said, you think you got it, but you don't. You didn't earn your shit. You go in and get spanked by some guy who's just tweaked out and grinding 24/7 because he's
Yeah.
on welfare.
Well, it's the same thing with TNL as well. Like, even though you can buy the gear, it's at the original level. You still need to do a lot of stuff to that gear to progress it further. While again, I'm not saying it's not pay to win. I absolutely do think it's pay to win. It's the same as every other game, man. You still got to put your hours in there, and you still need to actually grind to be good at it.
To what he was saying now, rest in peace, my beloved Rift. When they did Massacre, my boy,
It's still
they
alive.
did actually make that game pay to win. Back when I checked it out, this is like a couple of years ago. You could have bought the end game raid gear in their cash shop.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. I would never play that shit. I would never play that. All right, so let's move on because we're at 51 minutes now. So before we get into another, because we actually have something we want to talk about here, I actually want to bring up our friend Odra here. If you look, that actually looks like him, that little drawing in there. So when we were trying to get his picture up, we put in there white Argentina, man, and he gave us a guy from Germany. Again, think of that what you will. But Odra felt like he had to draw himself, and he still made him even whiter. What do you got to say about that, Odra?
That took me 2 seconds to draw.
He's lying to you guys. That took him hours, and he even had that little Hitler mustache in there. Do you guys see that?
I heard him sweating while he was drawing.
Yeah. He thought we wouldn't notice. We noticed.
That's a dirt.
I thought he
bomber.
used that drawing to wipe his butt, and that's what that is. Is that supposed to be a mustache?
I don't know. That's a little twister in there. Anyway, all joking aside, we have Kaz's favorite game and publisher, game creator, whatever you want to call them. Ubisoft is in trouble yet again.
The GOAT.
The GOAT of games.
Is this where we're talking? Oh man.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Hot News Press, the new game with the Black Samurai. Is it Assassin's Creed?
Samurai.
Hold on, it's Samurai Champloo. Put some
Sure. So that game, as of today, I believe, early in the morning, has been delayed till February 14th or some craziness like that. But it is in February 2025, and the reason for that is because they suck. And because their stock went down to about $2.14 or something as of today.
Dude,
Wow.
they even pulled out of the Tokyo Game Show about their game that's in Japan.
Yes, they did.
Who in their right mind would go to Tokyo, of all places, after all they've done to that country? Like, really?
No,
I just want to say
there's
that-
no way they can release this game now.
Yeah.
I bet Sucker Punch went.
Go
The
ahead,
P-
Kaz.
The
Oh, is that
PS3 and the
Afro
Xbox
Samurai
360 had an Afro Samurai game. They had amazing ratings and played fantastically, and it was rated M like a pure game should. And fucking Assassin's Creed over here, dude. So I watched some of their like pre-gameplay resolution stuff, and I was like, this looks like garbage. It's also an Assassin's Creed game. All Ubisoft games are the same and have been since like 2012, roughly. They just, oh, our NPCs run away. But I think the worst thing ever, besides the fact that they decided to delay their game, I think was the fact that Assassin's Creed has completely lost its identity and has been for a while. Ubisoft obviously is they're doing what Activision was doing, right? They were just like formulaically pumping out games. They're just recycling assets, and they've got a massive, team working on churning out these forgettable ass games, and they just continue to make really mid games. They don't innovate. It's the same mechanics, right? And like the only thing that's different on this one is that you're a fucking giant black guy in fucking Japan, so you're just bowling people over because you're 6 foot tall.
I don't think that's what the issue here is, right? And again, I'm gonna disagree with you with that really quick, because the Assassin's Creed Valhalla did really well, right?
Not really. Odyssey did.
It went on 50% sale within 2 months of coming out. I remember being like, "Ooh, I'm gonna buy this next year when it's half off," and that shit was half off like on Thanksgiving.
Again, that's not my type of game, but
it didn't really do super well. I heard quite a few negative things about it rather quickly.
I would pull it up right now. I just don't have time. But I don't think it's that bad for them. I think one of the reasons or main reasons why they really are in a shitbox is their last two games. The Jedi Outlaws screwed the pooch. And honestly, I don't think it was the whole Afro Samurai thing. I think it was the fact that they actually tried to take a actual character out of Japanese history and made him, one, black, two, made him take over and do all these things. And I think that's what the pushback is.
But the actual character is black. What do you mean?
Yasuke is black.
Make him black.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant as in like they're giving him to do things that there's no there's no concept or history that he actually did that. The only reference of this character doing these things is the guy that wrote about him, which is a white guy, and he wrote about him like 10 years ago. Literally every single history note about this character or the things that he's doing is from this dude's book. And in the wiki, I actually checked this out a couple of months back. In the Wikipedia about him, all the notes in there were written by the same author. So it's like me making up a character, making a book about him, and then telling him, oh yeah, he's the one that killed Hitler. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that would piss Odra off, but essentially that's not true because I made that fucking character up and all the history is bullshit. I'm not saying the character itself is not real or black or whatever. What I'm saying is all the deeds he did, there's no way to verify that. And I think that's what Japan and Japanese folks are pushing back on. And I think that's what is really the big issue here. And on top of that, they just posted a weird picture of the figurines they made a couple of days ago. I know Fate sent that shit over, and that was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, so they use they're using a Torii gate that was a statue that survived from the Nagasaki bombings and shit. It didn't even happen in the same era. It's 400 years too late to be in that era.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're operating in bad faith, and it was a success selling well and being profit for Ubisoft. Thank you, M1. So that's what I mean, and thank you for that picture, Faye. Now, if you guys look at that, that's the picture I was talking about. This is their latest thing, and I think it was because of this picture, with all the eyes on them, why they delayed the game. Now, again, as he said, so that is from the bombings from, I believe, right? It was from the nuclear bomb and shit that went in there. That's what.
From Nagasaki
and Hiroshima.
Yeah. So the fact that they would use that shit and put it in their figurines is just like a slap in the face, dude. And there is so much outrage. Now, I don't know, guys, if you pay attention to what's going on with this, online and Twitter and things like that. There is so much pushback from Japan. And again, I don't think it's anything to do with the character being black. It's the fact that the deeds the stuff
Yeah,
that
they totally
say,
fucked up their history.
yeah, dude, they totally fucked that up, and it's like, I think that's why they realized, that that's two big games they invested heavily in. Like, let's be honest, Kaz loved Outlaws, and it was a shitbox, and then this thing, like, no wonder their stuff is at $2. I was just kidding, Kaz. I know you loved it even more.
Well, I'm about to say something extremely controversial here.
Oh boy.
Imagine if some Middle Eastern, toy, company made a Twin Towers little statue with the plane flying over it, and then tried to sell it to Americans. Like,
It would sell out.
I was
Dude,
gonna say, it
America's-
would sell out because they didn't.
Americans would love that. What do you mean?
Yeah. They didn't do it.
We
That's
have
hilarious.
such a really crappy sense of humor in America.
As an American, fuck you guys, all of you.
Jesus Christ.
Probably more
I think
American than
Ubisoft
any
needs
of
to
these.
double down.
I see. I want to.
Ubisoft needs to come out and they need to make Yasuke like
Get him,
Uncle
Vala.
Ruckus.
Get him,
I
Vala.
need a Twin Towers hologram on my desk.
Dude,
'Cause
I
it'd be
want to
as real
laugh
as the real
so
thing.
bad. But
Don't do it.
also,
Don't
the
do it.
hidden trauma I have from 9/11.
Yeah,
you don't
do
even
it.
know.
Don't do it. No, but I think Ubisoft really shit itself pretty bad with everything. So the main question here being, are we gonna buy in? It's only like
No.
it's only $2 and change, or do we wait a little
No.
bit?
This could be GameStop stock all over again.
Absolutely
Just a meme
not.
stock.
Absolutely.
I
not.
mean,
But
that
people actually like
went
GameStop,
from
though.
$2 and change to like what, $100 per share, and then it went
Yeah.
back down.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I have no problem spending a couple of grand if it's like $2, and then getting $1 million or so dollars back. I'm totally cool with that. I don't. So, like, all joking aside, do we honestly believe that Ubisoft is going to bounce back from this, or do you think this is just
Nope.
temporary?
Nope.
I don't think they're going to
well-
bounce back. So there's a concentrated amount of money that these, well, like what I can't say your name. Prepare to be butchered. Monet One said in the
M1.
chat.
M1.
M1. I'm going to
Yeah.
say Monet One. That's much more fun. So anyway, talking about how per the Google searching here, right? Assassin's Creed was a success, right? But here's the kicker, dude. There's always going to be people who buy games, but your perception of your games is key to getting more people to buy in, because you want to, if your game costs continue to increase, which they are, then you have to continue to increase your sales. And if you have just a middle of the road sales, then what you wind up with right now is, well, we see Ubisoft stock absolutely going on sale. I don't think they're going to bounce back. I just don't think they won't go away. They're going to continue to produce these quote unquote quadruple A games that get bought up by people who then bitch about them. I think that a lot of your average people will play it and be like, it wasn't that bad. And people who played, like I played the one back in 2007, and I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And I played 2 and 3, and that was like perfect. Like that was it. Like that trilogy was fantastic. And then Black Flag, also a great game.
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, what are they going to do? Because like Black Flag changed it over. Now you're on a boat. There's sea shanties. And the big thing with the Assassin's Creed games was that it always immersed you in that time period of history. So to your point, Guns, I think the worst thing ever is that they completely are just ignoring their source, era, right? They could have had a Japanese guy. Like it's Japan. You could have made a
There's
Japanese
1,000 samurai, man. There's 1,000 famous samurai.
Exactly. And instead you're like, hey, we want to bring the West to Japan, but 400 years too soon. And I think that that's what's got people in arms, because it's not immersive, it's stupid, and they're giving up their historical connection. That's what I was talking about, that they've jumped the shark.
Yeah.
They started ancient aliens and ancient astronaut flat earth shit in their games, and it's like, what is going on here? I liked it better when there was like the Templars and you had like these ancient societies, and now I get into the fucking game and it's like, yeah, man, there's ancient alien sperm in your blood and you're a fucking Power Ranger, and I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Power Ranger. Anyway, what does anybody else want to say anything? Do you guys think they're gonna jump back?
No, dude. I mean, like EA has been re-releasing Madden for what, like 25 years now. Ubisoft will be fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine too. I actually
They haven't
can
had
say-
any credibility since like
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, I can save Ubisoft, by the way. If you guys want me to save it, Ubisoft, reach out to me. I'll 100% save it. They're just one title away, folks. One title.
Ubisoft as the company may survive, but the leadership will most likely be rotated out. I mean,
But
that's
they should.
already
Oh, for
in
the
the
better.
works.
Dude, I'll be honest, Fade.
Well, they
No,
just-
investors are already trying.
If it was up to me, I would punch each one of those CEOs. Maybe not even the CEO, the creative director, like in the left ball. Like let him keep the right one. In case they got to reproduce, but like take the left one completely out for this because, not even talking about this game. Let's go to Jedi Outlaws really quick, dude. You have Boba Fett, you have Anakin and Luke Skywalker. You have Revan, you have Bane, you have 1,000 Jedi that are really fucking cool that you can play with, and Han Solo, and who are you gonna fucking choose? You're gonna choose a Karen, a brand new character who has nobody even knows about, to be in your new game that you're launching. That's just so stupid. That's so stupid. Like why? Like now with that they screwed that up. Now they did the whole Yusuke thing, screw that shit up. And I don't think this game is ever gonna be released ever, in my opinion.
There's a certain category of rage, like basically rage headlines, right? We see this in media, and we're starting to see this in games, and it's where people, some idiot studio gets together a bunch of like blue-haired people who make a dog shit idea, and they somehow get money and they proceed to make it, right. And as they get close, they start revealing their like idea. And what's enraging about it is that in the foundation of the game itself is probably some fun gameplay, but then the absolute rest of the world is just dog shit, or they put in stuff that doesn't fit, right? So people make legitimate concerns, or they say questions, or they're like, why would you do this? And in response to valid criticism, here comes this isn't for you. I don't want you to play this. This isn't your space. Okay, then I'm not going to buy it. 3 days later, hey, this is not a success. Why isn't it? You didn't buy it, you fucking bigot. We saw that with Acolyte, right? It's not for you. This is our thing. Okay. And then it's canceled. Well, this is your fault. Well, you told me not to fucking buy it. Like,
it wasn't for me. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And like the whole, I'll be honest, guys. Like I'm a pretty chill person when it comes to games. Like, dude, buy, play what you want, man. It's your time, right? But anybody that says to me, this game is not for you, we made it for somebody else, I want to punch him, because it's like, dude, you're so stupid. Because if it's not for me, it's not for a lot of people. And then same thing with Concord's going to happen, where within 8 days, they're like, there's only 300 people playing this, and we spent all this money. Sorry, bullshit.
The devs of Helldivers 2 said it best: a game for everybody is a game for nobody. You got to fucking pick your course, pick your audience, and target them. And I guarantee, well, we've seen it with the success of Warhammer, with the fucking success of Halo, with now the success of Call of Duty, with Destiny 2. If it's fun, people will flood into it regardless of where they fit on societal ideas. You just got to make it fun, and you got to stop pushing like all your fucking shit into it. Yeah.
It's almost like video games are supposed to be fun.
Yeah, right. Dude, 100%. And I'm sorry, Kaz, but that's the last thing. It's like, dude, keep that agenda shit out of games. And if you are a company or a CEO or anybody in a company that has any power, like, I hope you listen to this. Like, dude, keep that shit out of video games, and maybe you'll make money. The fact that you like, it's just business. If you think in pure business aspect, like, why do you think a lot of these bigger companies don't get involved in politics or any of that crap going on? Because they don't want to have their business ruined over some bullshit. Let others worry about that. Video games are supposed to be fun. Video games are supposed to be an escape, from real life bullshit that we're all dealing with, to jump in for a couple of hours, kill some zombies, or go to college, wink, wink. But at the same time, like, I don't want to hear about this, man. And I think finally gamers are pushing back, and they're not playing these games, and people are getting called out for their bullshit finally. And it's just, personally, I love to see it. It sucks that it's Star Wars and it's happening to Assassin's Creed, but lessons need to be learned,
And it's gone even further to just upsetting gamers. Like, it's one thing to, say a sect of gamers like this isn't for you, or to call them racist or whatever. They've gone like further than that. Now it's like an entire country. Like, nah, this game isn't for you. Yeah, all of Japan is now racists and bigots because they don't want a black person in a video game.
Well,
and it's like,
that's not what they said, dude. And
they've came out and called it. I mean, some of the Ubisoft developers that came out and said that.
Yeah, but
have you guys been to Japan?
I have.
Yeah. I get it. I get it, but
I get it too. But I think, and again, I'm not defending Japan here. I've been to Japan, and I can tell you, it's anyway.
They're not wrong.
Yeah, I just think I don't think that's it. I think it was more the fact that they butchered history. And, I actually think there's a lot more shit to this than, we're not bringing up, but it's like a real big thing where, people, these gamers or gaming companies are taking liberties with other people's cultures. And it's like, dude, if you're going to do that, you should at least respect it in a way that all parties can agree to it, Anyway. That's just my opinion. Does anybody else want to say anything on this crazy topic before we call it?
No, I don't want to say a word on this topic, dude.
I know Justin was quiet this whole time, dude.
I ain't saying a fucking peep, dude. I still have ties to places where I should not be saying anything about.
You see him like squeezing the shit out of his chair leg right now, sweating.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Dirk is a seaman. Seaman in the Navy. Right, Dirk? Or
incorrect.
I know. He's a seaman advanced too.
Still incorrect, but yes.
He's in the Army, Navy, Air Force, one of those.
He's a SEAL.
Dirk
boy.
doesn't live on this planet. He's actually from a different one.
He's the furry. Exactly right.
He's from 4chan.
This is a really long Ethernet cord going off of Earth, going somewhere, and he's, somewhere out there.
I am actually an automated intelligence unit here to converse with you to make people think I'm real, so they will subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's.
I can't wait to throw
Dirk's the resident AI.
Anyway. Thank you guys. Yeah, right. Thank you guys very much for joining us. I will put everybody's details in the description of this video. Thank you guys for watching us. And again, we are looking for sponsors. So if Starbucks, if you're out there, Taco Bell.
I smash Taco Bell.
I
can't afford those crunch
every time I go to work. So
call us, man. We're ready to accept. Anyway,
thank you guys
very much. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next time.
See you, dude.
Later.
Oh wait.